Hey, how we doing, guys?
Hey, morning, everyone. Welcome back.
Joe here.
Kevin.
So season three of Mad Men. This has been kind of a roller coaster of a season.
I've loved this season a lot. All
Yeah,
three seasons have obviously been good, but I feel like we've really advanced like the characters story wise more in this one than we have in the previous two. Like I
sure.
feel like the first two seasons were like kind of like laying out who these characters are and what their relationships are and what their
Yeah.
their dysfunction is, right?
Uh-huh.
Because all of them seem to be suffering something,
Every single person.
which is written incredibly well, so
Yeah.
it's not jarring or anything.
No.
But I feel like all right, now we're in season three. It's like now we need to start really getting these people somewhere. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like start moving the story forward. This the sale of Sterling Cooper really set that off.
Yeah.
Now, you've got Betty, who I think it's almost inevitable at this point that she's going to leave Dawn for Henry. I could be wrong, but
She's definitely having an emotional affair with Henry.
and I feel like it's going to go beyond that because he
Yeah.
almost did. He was going to in his office, which is a
Yeah.
bold move. Um,
Yeah.
but like doesn't mean all of them don't do it. But she said no, not here. It's tawdry, which means yes, somewhere else where it's less tawdry. Which means I don't think Betty's just trying to hook up. I think it's more than that, or she would have been like fine with the office. You
No,
know what I
she
mean?
she wants to be in a relationship with Henry. She
That's
doesn't
that.
just
Yeah.
want to
See,
have the
that's what I'm.
hookup. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's what
Betty
I
has
think as
had her
well.
own affair too. I mean, like
Right.
whenever
Yeah. She
season
had
two, I
one.
think.
Yeah. To get back at Dawn, it's like a
Yeah.
little revenge thing.
It was. Yeah. Which was warranted.
Yeah. Sure.
Somebody on Patreon pointed out very keenly this season, a lot of the romanticism of the time is gone.
For sure.
You
Right.
know, everybody is quite awful.
I mean,
I
really.
mean,
Yeah.
you have Pete assaulting a woman.
Yeah. That
Dawn,
was terrible. That whole thing all
that
around.
was awful. That made me
Everything.
put a knot in my stomach.
The neighbor and
Yeah,
everything. It was
I
terrible.
mean, so you have that Roger in blackface.
Roger. Oh, Roger.
I mean, even Bert Cooper is kind of like blackmailing Don a little bit to get him to
He
stay
did
here.
blackmail Dawn, didn't he?
Don and Salvatore, which was probably the worst thing Don's ever done.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know Don's had affairs, and that you know, and Don's a dirtbag like every other
Yeah,
guy in the show when it comes to his marriage. But I agree. I found that to be the least likable Don that I've seen on the show.
truly. And then
Hmm.
you have Betty, who have a slew of issues, but even her comment about like maybe now's not the time for integration. You know,
Yeah, but
it,
and I
like
think that
what
was
do you mean? That's such an awful thing to say to
right.
somebody.
And I know it was a sentiment back then. Like
Yeah,
a lot of you know good whites who were on the side
yeah,
of reform were like, well, you know, I get why we want civil rights, but at the
yeah,
same time, maybe the world's just not ready yet. And like, then
sure.
just freaking say you're against civil rights because that's what the subtext is.
But it's interesting because you have those five characters that are
Right,
really like showing the era. Like that is the era.
for sure.
This era was that, and now they're finally wearing that. It's not the romanticized. Oh yeah, we're gonna drive to work and drink old fashions in the office all day and smoke cigarettes and have fun. That's not the show.
Yeah,
That's not the time.
kind of interesting how progressive Pete has been about the whole thing too. You know what I mean?
Y- Yeah, I mean he's the only one. I mean he still did it, but he's the only one that showed some type of remorse. I guess you know.
Well, yeah. I was sorry. I was speaking more about the times.
Oh sure. Yep, yep.
He's the only one besides Don who thought that the blackface thing was gross.
Yeah, well,
He's a he,
he's the younger generation.
he's the one that was trying to start pitching selling in black markets,
Yeah,
targeted which companies do now all the time. Like the advertising geared towards you know demographics is
yeah,
it's advertising 101 now.
yeah.
So you know Pete was a little bit ahead of his time kind of on that, and he got shot down.
It's interesting how they're trading that generation trades racism for misogyny.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, like they're not racist, but they're very misogynistic. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. It's like everything else. It's like, well, we you know we're playing whack-a-mole with bigotry here. You know,
truly.
we seem to get a grasp of one issue just to turn around and blow it on another one. You know.
And Don, it was a homophobic comment, but at the same time, it
Oh,
was
you
just
people!
gross.
It was so
It was so
gross.
gross. Like we cut Don so much slack before we even talked about that episode, and then
Right.
that happens. We're like, well, we look like fools
Yeah.
now.
Right. Yeah. That was pretty gross, Don. That was, and I get it. Again, you know, the show is it's not a romanticized show, right?
No,
That's the times.
it's the times.
Homophobia wasn't odd. It was the norm.
Yeah,
And
up until very recently, even.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. The attitudes changed very quickly in the 2000s, um, and obviously
It's still happening.
there's
You
these
know, let's get real.
example
It's still
right,
happening.
but
Those things never go away.
right, but yeah, that was we're getting some shades of the characters that we haven't gotten before, and that was an ugly one from Dawn. I don't know how it persists as we move through, because I'm assuming we're going to keep doing small time jumps as the show kind of progresses. I don't know what year it is when the seventh season ends.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're in 63 now.
Yeah, because Kennedy's still around.
Right.
Because Roger's daughter, her wedding is the day after the assassination of Kennedy.
Right.
But also, to cut Don slack, his comments were inexcusable, obviously. But do you think that he actually said that because he feels that way, or because he's under the pressure from everything right now?
Well, the only reason I would give Don slack is he was in a very bad mood when Salvatore walked into the office with this issue.
Because he's dealing with Connie.
Right. He was.
Everyone's looking to him to save the company.
Yeah,
It's a company that he doesn't want to be tied to, really.
Everything's been going bad. I don't remember everything. I don't remember why he was mad at that moment right before. We know things have been building, but something happened to where Don was pretty furious when Salvatore walked into his office.
It was because of Connie. Connie keeps waking him up in the middle of the night and getting a drink with him.
Oh, it was Connie walking in and telling him that he blew what I say, I want the moon. I want the moon.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was that same day.
Yeah, he was pulling a Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Yeah.
So Don was already upset, and he might have lashed out at Salvatore just a little bit. And he did point out, and you had to give him this, as awful as Lee Garner Jr. is, he has Sterling Cooper over a meat grinder. He says
$1 million account, $25 million, something.
Yeah, 25 million. He says they can shut off the lights, meaning if he pulls his business, they could be out of business.
So Sal's done.
Right.
You don't think we see Sal again?
I don't know. I don't think we see him at Sterling Cooper again.
Yeah.
Maybe we see him with Duck or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he goes and works. I mean, he's obviously a talented guy.
Crazy if Duck starts getting the troops together,
right?
Because he's kind of already got Peggy. He's not getting Pete.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Peggy goes and works for him.
I wouldn't be either. And we haven't seen Duck for a few episodes, and we know that he's definitely like working in the shadows.
Right.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility moving forward with this that we kind of start seeing both ad agencies instead of just focusing on Sterling Cooper? We get Duck with Peggy and possibly with Salvatore or whatever.
Because they've said where he's at, right?
Yeah. I can't remember, but he's at another company.
They've used him very sparingly. Mm-hmm. I would like to see that just to show the juxtaposition between the workforces, and also it's kind of a mess at Sterling Cooper right now.
It is.
It does not look like a fun place to work.
No.
At all. Like in the beginning, it's kind of like, this looks like it'd be kind of fun. You get to play guitar in the office, smoke cigarettes, ride lawnmowers around.
Right.
But now it's just like, this is awful. This is terrible.
It does seem like there's a dark cloud hanging over it, doesn't it?
Very much so.
Well, we'll see. We're getting towards the end of season 3 here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I want to welcome some new subscribers to Patreon. So Hawk, Lewis Taylor, Rahul Palmatkar, and Lawson. Thanks, guys, and welcome. We sincerely appreciate you being here with us.
Yes, you guys are the best.
Yes.
If you're watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel. If you don't mind hitting the like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the new content we've coming your way.
Absolutely. If you'd like to see the full-length reaction to this episode of Mad Men and everything else we're watching, including the whole run of Mad Men, please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page. Again, we're having issues with people understanding you do need to, on a different device, sync and watch along with us. So on your laptop, your tablet, your phone, your TV, whatever, you're going to have us open in one place and that open in the other. So when I say 1, 2, 3, go, we all start together. We, because of copyright laws, cannot show you the entire show.
You're working too much.
That's I don't have a choice.
No, that's not what I mean.
You told him to sign the contract.
Right.
I see how hard you're working.
Yeah, he's not very happy since he signed that contract, is he?
Aquanet. Arrive in style. Too much story. Every time I hear "and then," there's another chance for the ladies at home to misunderstand.
Well, it's a visual, man.
I need you two to be ready for me at a moment's notice.
And it has to be TV to compete with the phone company.
I love getting telegrams, but I never send them.
How is that supposed to help?
What?
I don't need you to put your little swirl on top of my idea.
Well, he's really insecure.
I am. You do your work, I'll do mine. Let the chips fall where they may.
Paul's the worst.
Paul is the worst.
I'm not going to let you force me to do anything anymore.
Am I to entertain your ballad of dissatisfaction, or has something actually happened? Because I am at work, dear.
10 long with those fat ladies in there first. Finally, I think I'm en route, but I see the park, and I insist it's the wrong direction, and he's obviously running up my fare, which he was. I had to stop here because I'd already taken a $2.25 tour of Harlem, and that was all the money I had.
Well, we'll get you home right away.
So she hates New
You
York.
have cash
Yeah.
to get me. You like it here. The smells and the noise and the criminals at every level.
I have made the best of this.
It's not London. It's not even England.
That's true. I've been here 10 months and no one's ever asked me where I went to school.
What do we do?
Just a minute. It's my brother.
Oh.
Get rid of him for 15 minutes. I'll run out.
No, it's okay, Don. Come outside.
No. So there's a man in here. He doesn't need to know it's me.
I want you to meet him.
Oh, she's
I don't
taking
wanna
this
ruin
farther
this.
than he wants to, yeah.
I'll call you.
Tomorrow.
Nope. Things are too real for Don now.
Yeah.
He's just very private.
He is.
He's arrogant. His plans were interrupted.
You don't know him.
I don't think that's wrong though.
Who am I kidding? I don't want to go either. Have to watch Don Draper accept an award for his humanity.
Don is important.
I remember Mona said they looked like they were on top of our wedding cake.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Screw him.
Man, Don really pushed his buttons at the
Yeah.
the Kentucky Derby party.
It's just a party. If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. It's not like it's our company anymore anyway.
Hello, Draper Residence. Hello? There's nobody there. They hanged up.
It was either for Don or for Betty, and
Yeah.
they're both thinking it was my affair for me.
Yeah, I was thinking it was gonna be the teacher for a second.
It was either the teacher or Henry.
But I could hear somebody and they heard me.
My goodness, Sally Draper. Try not to take everything so personally.
Oh, I think Don just caught that. Don's like,
Yeah. I can't believe this guy outlasted Salvatore as far as getting fired.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I'm Paul, by the way.
I'm Achilles.
Achilles. Oh, hello, Achilles. That's a mighty big name.
It is, isn't it?
Eat someone's lunch.
Yeah.
When we have a party, someone says, Achilles. All the men turn their heads.
Yeah.
On Christmas.
Hush. I've got it.
I got what?
Oh, Achilles, I've thought of something very, very good.
Glad to hear it. Your whole face changed.
Did it?
It's gonna be one of these I'm drunk and it's not really a great idea moments.
Probably not.
Right.
Hey.
I'll only stay for a stop. I tried to catch you on the platform.
In my house last night?
No, I didn't.
No, Henry did.
This is a mistake.
Sit down.
I don't care about your marriage or your work or any of that. As long as I know you're with me.
See, that's so weird. Is like he ropes these girls in always, and then he gets mad when they get attached.
I know. Oh yeah.
Paul!
Let's see if you got that idea now.
Right?
I need you to type something for me.
You're right. I don't think you wrote it down.
Nope.
My mother always said to retrace your steps if you lost something.
Good God, would you shut up?
God.
We're flying across the pond. We expect all the flowers in the vase.
What does that mean?
Look, Lane. We've had interest in the company for some months, and this party is essential.
You're gonna sell it again?
Wow.
Lane, Sterling Cooper is for sale.
Wow.
Why?
I was wondering if you called my home last night.
No. No, I didn't.
Oh.
Huh.
I don't know what happened there.
I'm terribly embarrassed.
Do you want me to call you?
No.
Just watching TV.
I got some bad news, and
It
I
has
shouldn't
come
tell
to
you
my
this, but
attention that you're not attending the Sterling Cooper 40th
I'm just not going to
anniversary.
tell him.
Think of the future. All of our clients, all of our staff, the press, newspapers, and trade publications. Enjoy the fruit of your longevity. If you care about Sterling Cooper at all, remember that Your absence will make everyone think you are ill.
That's a good point. You might want to show up.
Yeah. Oh no.
His desk key. His secret desk key.
Yep. Why does she...
Oh no!
Oh, his brother.
Oh, wow. A lot of it's still going to say Don Draper on it.
Yeah.
Like his discharge and, yeah,
Oh,
the
in
deed.
Long Beach, yeah. Anna
Oh,
Draper.
Anna Draper. Oh my god. Oh, this doesn't look good.
That's gonna be the catalyst.
That's gonna be it. That's gonna be the catalyst for a divorce.
I'm not going to Bedford.
Well, I am. So I guess you kind of have to.
I know what's waiting for me at that place. I'm 25 years old, Don. I don't want to be cleaning toilets until I die. Just pull over.
I'm older than you. And I'm telling you, it seems bad now, but you can still change things.
Pull myself up by the bootstraps.
Does that just sound stupid to you?
Everyone knows sooner or later that there's something wrong with me. They're kind and they try. But then when I come to with piss in my pants, they stare at me like I'm from another planet.
Swore to myself I would try to do this right once.
Do what?
I want you to call me if you ever need to.
Oh, think about Adam. Yep. Wow. She's really committed to this, isn't
Yeah.
she? What if he's spending the night in the city?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she's just gonna put it back.
Right, yeah.
I'll get home at 5:30. We should leave within the hour.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go.
What's wrong?
What's wrong? What's wrong? I don't feel well.
Get into bed and grab a hot water bottle. You have 7 hours. It's all the clients, all the partners. I want to show you off, Bets.
That's a little gross.
Okay.
I've got nothing.
Yeah, because you're an idiot.
What a relief. Mine's garbage, too.
No, I had something. Something incredible. There was nothing, and then there was it, and now it's nothing again.
I'm so sorry. Come on. We failed before.
Yeah, Paul.
Mine aren't any better.
Damn it, Kinsey, what's your excuse?
Forgot
Don't
it.
yell at him.
Excuse me?
Tell him what happened.
The dog ate my homework. I had a great idea, and I lost it. I didn't write it down.
I hate when that happens.
Okay, so he
Keep
gets
thinking
it.
about that.
The faintest ink is better than the best memory.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Our creative director, partner, father, husband, and friend, Donald Draper.
That was probably hard for Roger, who
It
hates
was.
him. Yeah.
I bet Don loves that Roger has
Oh,
to say that.
right.
He's like, yeah. They need to make up quickly because I love Roger
Oh,
and
for
Don.
sure, yeah.
I'm very honored.
He looks like she's about to stab
Yeah.
him.
Or hide those forks.
Yeah, right, really.
Oh, that's where we're gonna end. Okay,
Yeah.
that's chilling. So Betty, Don's secret. All right.
I guess the big question is when does she confront him about it?
I think she keeps that in her pocket until she needs it.
You think so?
She's vindictive.
I don't know if it's going to be vindictive or I don't know if she keeps it in her pocket until it's I'm moving out and she's got something set up with Henry.
So
Why are you moving out? Because this box, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but
that'd be a good. Actually, that'd be more dramatic.
it would be.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if as she's saying like I've met somebody
Uh-huh.
and this is my future and I don't even know who you are and explain this and that's her gunpowder
Sure.
for kind of for the whole thing. But I don't see any way, and I could be wrong because the show's just brilliantly written, but I don't see any way how they stay together after this.
I don't think you're far off. I think definitely Henry is going to be who Betty ends up with. for
I
the
do
most
too.
part.
I do too.
And I think, like, because he even says in this episode, "You want to call me? Call me."
Right.
And I think she's like, "You know what? I will."
Yeah, I think so now. Yeah.
And the real question is, where does that leave Dawn and the teacher? Because each season, Dawn has his own like girl of the season. Basically,
Right.
It was Mencken season 1. It was Bobby season 2. And I don't know. So, the thing is with Dawn and his girls, he's kind of outgoing.
Right.
He did a lot of he did a lot for Mencken. He did a lot for Bobby, and he's even doing a lot for what is the teacher's name?
I can't remember. He did a lot for the artist girl too. Remember he wrote
Yeah,
over that check?
he did.
Like $2,500 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was gonna drive her brother to Massachusetts. Like,
Right, yeah.
so he's outgoing, so it's hard to read him. Like
He does things that, at least on the surface, look like he's being genuinely caring. He did it with Betty, right?
Yeah.
With her brother when that big mess with her dad. Like,
Yes.
you're going to her brother, you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're gonna do it because you're having a change of heart and want your dad and your sister to be happy.
I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it comes from a sense of guilt or if it comes from a sense of like, well, this is just what you do. You know what I mean?
I think Don believes his own neuroses in that.
Yeah.
I think he thinks he loves Betty. I think he thinks he loved Rachel Menken. I think he thinks he loves the teacher. I think he thinks he was happy with Bobby. I think when he's in the moment, he's there. And I think when that moment's over and he's somewhere else, then he's there. You know what I
in many
mean?
ways, he does love these people, but
I honestly,
but it's fleeting.
in his own twisted way, I think it's like this. I'm where I should be to find happiness right now, and that's why he does these things.
Yeah.
Because again, Don cannot figure out how to be happy, so I think he steps into these relationships with these people, thinking, "This is it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be happy. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to not make mistakes." He said it to the guy when he's letting him out of the car.
Yeah.
I said, "It's going to do it right this time."
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. He's like, he has that guilt with him. And he's like, you call me if you need anything because
Right.
your sister's more important.
Yeah.
And he is like a leaf in the wind, man. He's constantly just changing, just blowing through life.
And when that relationship with her doesn't do it anymore, he'll move on, and the next one that he absolutely has to be with will be absolutely the right one for as long as it's the right one.
So he's facing a divorce here pretty soon. I think it's safe to say.
Oh, sure.
How he reacts to that, I don't know. Do you think that he okay, so there's two options, right? He could implode again and
Right.
run off to some other place,
Yeah.
or maybe he gets really vulnerable and he's like, all right, screw it, I'm just gonna move in with the teacher.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either, but at the same time, it's like
We've never had to see Don struggle with being alone.
he's already alone though. That's the
Right?
thing.
No,
Yeah,
and yeah, but I'm talking like physically,
like actually alone.
he's definitely lonely, but he doesn't understand that, right?
Well,
He never like when things aren't going well with Betty or work, whatever. There's another woman lined up. He won't let himself be alone for 2 seconds.
I would say the closest to that is when she kind of kicked him out.
Right.
That was the closest he was to being. I mean, he kind of was. He was
Sure.
like in a hotel by himself, and he really freaked out and went to California for a while.
Yeah.
That's he does not handle that well.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think he would if Betty says we're done. I found this box. I don't know who you are. It's over. I've met someone, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think Don stays with the teacher.
No,
You know what I
so.
mean? I don't
know.
I don't think she's a surrogate wife. You know what I mean? I don't feel like that. That's a
She's
replacement
different.
level event. Right.
She's different than
She's
anybody else
different.
has had. I mean, truly.
But I just think of Don as as a guy who likes to blow things up. You know what I mean? Who can't stay in the States. It's
in his blood.
He didn't want a contract with Sterling Cooper.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can't commit.
And he's regretting it now.
Right.
I mean, look how miserable he is now because he signed that contract.
He hates his job.
He hates his job.
And he hates being there.
So as far as Sterling Cooper goes, he has the contract, right? But if they sell,
right,
what does that entail? Like when they sell, does that mean that all the contracts have to be honored under the previous agreements, or is it just all whatever?
I know nothing about contract law.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know any because it's not a publicly shared company, is it? Publicly traded? I don't know if it is.
I don't think they've got into that. Really.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I don't know if the controlling interests are like stocks. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a private company.
I took one law class on intellectual property.
Right. So I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
My assumption would be looking at this case logistically.
Yeah.
If some other company comes in and buys Sterling Cooper and they're a desirable company, they said so themselves because they're very profitable and they're not running huge budgets.
Yeah.
So I think if you buy that, you want to keep that intact, right?
You're buying what they're selling, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sterling Cooper is the people that work at Sterling Cooper. It's an ad firm. They're not making cars.
No.
They're selling ideas, right?
Gotcha.
They're selling the people.
Yeah.
So if someone buys Sterling Cooper, I think, with the exception of because when we had these two merge, there were layoffs because of redundancies between the two companies.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the same thing. But you want obviously the really good people. Like if I was Paul Kinsey and the company sells again, I'd be sweating bullets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's so screwed.
Right.
Oh,
But
man,
you
he's so
know,
screwed.
but Dawn and Pete and Peggy, you know, there's
Ken, like they're all
Ken, yeah,
they're
the
fine.
yeah, the people that actually have talent that are making this work,
Yeah.
I don't think they sweat anything.
If anything, it kind of it's advantageous to Don because he signed a contract, so he's locked in.
Right.
And he won this giant award. Like Don's the man around.
Right,
there. Yeah.
exactly. I feel like, especially for him more than anybody,
Yeah.
if you buy Sterling Cooper, what you really are buying is Donald Draper. That's what they want.
Well, it really is. They're really in trouble because if they sell Sterling Cooper, the Duck situation. Because
Right.
we don't know what Duck's got cooking.
If that's true, it could be they could sell to whatever company Duck's kind of with right now. Could you
That would
imagine?
be insane.
Could you imagine if Don having to go back to work with Duck Phillips?
Yeah, Duck rolls in. He's like,
And
"Daddy's
Duck rolls
back."
in is like, yeah, he's like, by the way, I'm president of this new.
Oh man,
back to being in charge of Sterling Cooper.
I would hate that so much.
I would love to, you know what the only thing I would love about it is how Don would figure out how to destroy Duck yet again because you know he would.
Don would be like, all right, that's it. I'm
All
gonna kill him.
That's it.
He's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Like
I did love in this episode how brilliant the writing was with the whole Kinsey Peggy situation.
Sure.
Like they're trying to sell oh my gosh. What's it called? Telegrams, right?
Western Union.
Western Union, yeah. And he can't remember his idea.
Yeah.
But if he would have written it down, it's like it's so obvious that you overlook it.
Right.
Like that's brilliant.
It's like yeah.
Like I didn't even catch it.
I didn't either until Peggy said something like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, have it written down like a telegram."
I know.
That's good writing, man.
I know. When did post-it notes become a thing?
I'm not sure.
Because that would be right there.
Right,
like,
of
yeah.
course. Also, the name of the episode, I really love how he dealt with the color blue in that conversation of, you know, some people just see things differently, but you can assume that a lot of people see them the same. You
Yeah.
know, of like, yeah, you're up on stage frauding out how happy you are with work while your wife's staring at you because
sees right through it.
she sees through you because she has no idea. She finally knows she has no idea who you are.
Which is crazy.
Right.
Like Betty went through it like the first 2 seasons, and she's just now realizing I don't know my husband.
Right.
You didn't know him the whole time.
Yeah,
and
you
that's why
definitely
you
don't,
were
right.
upset constantly.
Right.
So maybe that's kind of her whole like maybe that's her final like I don't want to say the end of her arc. But
Well-
like, that's her realizing why she is the way she is, kind of.
Well, I think she's always like on a a metaphysical level known that she has no idea who Don is.
Yeah.
I think that box says, "Oh my God, I literally have no idea." Like this guy's whole like constructed backstory is a lie.
Yeah.
You know, it goes deeper than she should have even guessed.
And they could honestly go deeper with the whole Betty storyline because in many ways that might lead to her not realizing who she is because she's lived a life of privilege her whole life.
Yeah.
Spoiled. She's never really had an opportunity to be herself.
Right.
And, well, I guess she was modeling in Italy, but
Right.
Don came and swept her away.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, you know, because I do think Betty's been infantilized on this show. She's basically a little kid. She has tantrums, and sometimes it's really frustrating to watch. Like, you're a grown adult with kids, man. Stop.
Yeah.
But I guess there's, we could go the route of she gets out of a marriage with Dawn and grows and becomes a better person. But I don't think she's going to
No,
because
she's not.
I think she's going to run right to Henry is what I think she's going to do.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
do too.
which is the antithesis of what she needs.
So that would lead to obviously they have kids. So I don't think even if they get divorced, I don't think Betty's going anywhere because they have the kids and Don's gonna have to deal with her still.
Yeah, she's gonna be on the show. Like, I don't think January Jones is gonna leave Mad Men. I just don't think.
Yeah, I feel like if that was the case, like it'd be a way bigger deal. Like we know, like on the West Wing, obviously we haven't seen the West Wing. but
Yeah,
we know that Rob Lowe
we
leaves.
know where Rob Lowe leaves in season
Yeah.
4 or 5, something like that.
You guys would have told us that by now. But I want to see Don and Henry interact because I'm sure that's gonna be very standoffish.
It's gonna have to happen, right?
Had to.
If Betty moves on and marries or lives with or dates Henry,
Yeah.
and Don's gotta, there's kids involved and stuff. Don's gonna have to meet the new stepdad. You know what I mean? Don's gonna have to deal, and I don't know how that goes.
He's got daddy issues himself, so
Right.
having to deal with somebody playing stepfather to his children, I wonder how that's gonna hold over.
And I guess if that happens, if they do divorce, we get to see what kind of dad Don really is. You know, how much he really cares when he's not, because when he's not with the kids, he doesn't seem to give a crap.
No.
Seems like a good dad when he's there, kind of like with his girlfriends. He's a good boyfriend when he's with them. He's a good husband when he's with her,
I love that statement.
but when
It's so
when
true.
he's gone, he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
And I feel like that.
He'll be even more absentee for sure.
Yeah, and maybe it's the same with his kids, right? Maybe he gets divorced and he's like, okay, well, I'll be a good dad when I see the kids, kind of like he's been doing.
With 7 seasons, there's a lot to play with because you have the kids' perspective,
And they're gonna
Like,
grow up, right? Like,
I think they'll blame Betty because, like, from their point of view, their
Right.
dad's great because their dad always comes home at the end of the night. We don't see dad often because he's working, but really they have no idea that he's out, living it up.
and it's going to be interesting to see because I don't know what kind of time passage we're looking at as the show goes on for 7 seasons. But how old are Bobby and Sally going to be
At the end,
At the end, right? Are they going to
Yeah.
be like teenagers and like, oh, by the way, now I know what kind of dirtbag my dad and mom kind of are.
I mean, I think they'd be early teens or preteen or something.
I would think so.
They would have an awareness of the situation.
Right.
So.
I don't think how awful their parents are. I think you can fool them when they're little kids, but
No.
at some point they're going to be like, wait a second, like we all do, right? Like everybody does. Like, oh,
Parents are messed up.
right. Oh, wait a second, my parents were terrible.
My
Anyway.
dad has a secret identity.
Right. That's right. Well, yeah, we'll see if the kids find that out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.